Hi, this is Lois DeWitt. I'm going to show you a basic drawing exercise that I do with my basic drawing students. It's really interesting because it teaches them how to see. Once they learn how to see, the world is open to them. They can draw anything, they can paint anything, they can sculpt. For this exercise, what you'll need is some still life objects, which could be just about anything. I've chosen a sweet potato and 2 onions, some of my favorite vegetables, and I've set them on a towel so I can learn a little about folds and how they work. Then these odd-looking objects right here are just modeling clay. You can use any kind of modeling clay, and this particular size is pretty good. In a minute I'll tell you why. I have some drawing pencils here, and you'll also need a ruler. Now, here I have an 11 by 14 piece of plexiglass. And what I've done with a Sharpie, a permanent Sharpie, is I've measured out, I've divided it vertically and horizontally, and then divided that again to make the squares. So yeah, you'll want to do that. You want to get a piece of plexiglass, measure it out correctly so that you have your squares. And then you can actually trace this whole thing onto a piece of paper, which is what I did. And now I have a sketchbook with exactly that same size of the plexiglass with the same size squares. So I'm just about ready to start. I've set up the plexiglass in front of the still life, set it up vertically on those 2 pieces of clay. Pinch the clay together so it doesn't flop down, which can be very disheartening. You want that to be stable. And then in front of it I have my sketchbook. In front of the plexiglass I have my sketchbook just laying flat in front of it, and I'm ready to start drawing. The tricky thing about it is when you start drawing, you really don't want to move. You want to keep as still as possible, because if you move, your whole reference of the still life behind the plexiglass moves. So I tell my students always to start with 1 square, and that will be kind of your main reference. So I'm going to start with this square on the left here, and I'm just drawing an angle in that square, which is the table. Just sketching it in, and then part of the sweet potato, which is that kind of shape in the square like that. Very simple, very easy to do. Then I have some of the towel here. This is what I'm seeing through that 1 square, okay? And that's pretty much it. Now that was easy, and the nice thing now is that I can move a little bit. If I sneeze or something, nothing is going to be too upset because I'm using this square as my reference. I'm taking a minute to show you a little bit closer look at what I've drawn so far, which is just really the beginning. There are the rest of the squares that I have to draw, and there is the still life right there. I can be pretty sure that what I've put down so far is pretty accurate, and you will want to check yourself with each square, 1 square after another, before you go on to the next square. Just taking my time. Probably the most difficult time you will have with this exercise is in the beginning, because it is probably different than anything else you've ever done. And I encourage my students to do this exercise over and over until they feel comfortable with it. And after a while, what happens is you automatically begin to see things on a grid, really, truly. I took 6 years of drawing in art school for my master's degree, and I can tell you that after that period of time, to this day I see everything in a grid. Potatoes and lovely onions. There's the plexiglass, and there's my drawing, and I'm just about ready to complete the first phase of this drawing. Go through and check the rest of the drawing, make sure that that's accurate, and finish the drawing itself. Now that I've finished my drawing, what I did is I went in and I did the lines a little bit stronger in the drawing. It's pretty accurate, I was sure of that. So I made the lines in the drawing stronger. There you can see the still life, and there's my drawing. And now I'm just going to keep the plexiglass up, and I'm going to go back into the drawing, and I'm going to start doing some basic shading on it. Again, the plexiglass will actually help place the shading, because you can use the squares as a reference, and the shading becomes actual shapes that you can compare to the squares. Now I've just done some of the basic shading to show a little bit of volume for this drawing. Obviously it can be developed a lot more than that, but it will not take you 6 years to learn this. It may take 6 tries, but not 6 years. And I think if you really want to learn how to see, this is a really good method to begin with. Give it a try.